Good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome. I went out to the car to put a piece of music in the car. There were two people sitting here. It was Aubrey and Bob. And I came back in the door and this happened. Welcome, everyone. We're so excited that you're here. What a wonderful morning it is for us to be able to be a community. And let's just center ourselves and get all of this energy sort of focused by singing together. What a great way to do that. And on page 13 in your songbooks, you'll find I Am Alive in Spirit. If you know this song, sing out loud. If you don't, sing softly, or just sing out loud anyway. Page 13. I am alive in spirit. Spirit is alive in me. I am alive in the spirit. Spirit is alive in me. I am alive. Spirit is alive in me. I am alive. Spirit is alive in me. I am alive in the spirit. Spirit is alive in me. I am alive in the spirit. The spirit is alive in me. I am alive. The spirit is alive in me. I am alive. Spirit is alive in me. Now, Sam. Sam Kinnett.
Woo! Gosh. This is a full house. I love it. Thank you. And my name is Sam Kinnett.
Sam, will you move the mic up just a little closer to you?
I can move me to the mic. But
Is the mic on?
Yeah.
anyway, we're trying to do the introduction here. I am the Leadership Council person of the day. And I'm glad you're all here. And I have a special announcement from Jerome. So, Jerome, come give us the words.
Okay, right here, buddy. And just tell them about the fundraiser.
Okay, so for my baseball, we're selling raffle tickets. So I'm wondering if you guys would buy some raffle tickets for my baseball.
And I would also like to welcome everyone who's watching online. Thank you for joining us. We're grateful that you found us and that you can share your energy, that we can share our energy together this way. If this is your first time joining us, we're glad you're here. We have welcome packets. They look like this. They're available in the foyer. It contains our monthly magazine from our parent organization. So this is our Leadership Council Sunday share. Our stream is free from poison hemlock, thanks to Andrea Rule and her team. Yes, it was a big job and a big gift to us as they graciously donated their time and services in our little canal we have on our property. And speaking of volunteers, if you are called to volunteer your time or talents, there are many opportunities. One thing is certain, volunteering builds friendships, creates connections, and is always fun. Volunteer as a greeter are to help with our July 12th barbecue. All volunteer opportunities deepen the enjoyment when we do things together. See a council member with your contribution. And birthdays and more birthdays, let us know if you have a birthday or anniversary to celebrate in June. We'll recognize our June birthdays next Sunday, June 7th. There's an extra announcement page about emergency prayer contact and coffee and conversation with Reverend Gayle, which happens on June 20th at the Wild Beat in Haley at And now I invite our practitioner of the day, Manon Cordro, to invoke us.
Good morning, all. Nice to see so many people here. Good morning to all online also. Let's take a moment to go within, taking a deep breath, feeling gravity supporting you. I know there is one consciousness, one divine presence, one creative power which manifests all of life and all things. I know it as the source of infinite goodness, harmony, abundance, and limitless possibilities. I know the one as the infinite supply of love, light, beauty, comfort, and peace. I know we each have an intimate relationship with the one divine consciousness deep inside of us. In consciousness, love prevails over fear. And when we consciously choose to plant seeds of love in alignment with the law of cause and effect, the law responds perfectly, expressing life in full bloom. I give thanks for Light on the Mountain, where we gather and get inspired. I give thanks for the loving spiritual family that offers us opportunities to experience the fullness of life. I give thanks to each person contributing to this Sunday morning experience, including Angie, who's our speaker for today, Sam, representing the Leadership Council, and all the Leadership Council who work a lot. I'd say thanks to our musician, RL, and to Sarah, who's back from the East on live stream today. Yay, Sarah. I give thanks for the social hour, all the goodies, and the work, the loving hands in the kitchen, especially Donna this morning and her helpers. And I give thanks for the ministry of Rev Gayle, who I know is watching us right now. And I give thanks for all who sustain our spiritual community. And together we say, and so it is. So today's theme is Gateway number 8 from Dan Millman's book. It's Face Your Fears. Dan Millman says that fear limits our life and locks us in a cage. Fear may keep us from trying anything new. Fear makes us avoid situations and becomes an excuse to not live life fully. We may have fears of dying, fear of rejection, fear of failure. We may fear facing our repressed feelings, fear of showing emotions to others, fear of being judged by others, fear of showing our vulnerability, and I'm sure you could find many more. New Thought teaches us that the one life is governed by the laws of the universe, the law of cause and effect, the law of attraction, and the power of love. The same law that produces positive results from positive thoughts also produces negative results from negative thoughts. So love expressed manifests more love, but fear attracts what we fear. Fear is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it may paralyze us. We attract what we focus on. So why not plant seeds of a perfect life, of the life we want, and expect living in full bloom, in beauty, harmony, abundance? If we wish to create a perfect life, we need to live our life consciously, in alignment with the law of cause and effect. We can choose to tap into the one creative power, which is the source of infinite goodness, harmony, abundance, and limitless possibilities. We can choose to live our life from feelings of intense love. We can choose to let the laws of the universe bring forth perfect livingness. So let's ask ourselves, does what I want express a more abundant life, while it robs no one, and express a greater degree of livingness? Let's affirm this. I am not afraid. I will not be afraid, for there is one presence constantly with me to guide, protect, and comfort. And so it is.
Good morning, everyone. That was a nice response. A thought of the day. And if you've been in other parts of my world, I'm just going to repeat a story because it was powerful in my week. And by the way, shameless plug, Caritas Chorale has a concert this afternoon at 3 o'clock at the Church of the Big Wood. Consider joining us. And so here's how this story goes. We had a rehearsal on Wednesday, and I had stopped by Wise Guy on Sun Valley Road to grab a slice and a salad on the way to rehearsal at St. Thomas. And as I was leaving, this young man walked past, and he had a bedroll and a backpack and a gigantic water jug and several other things attached to him. It was obvious that he was on a journey. And I found him to be fascinating, and I thought, I wonder if I should talk to him. But he was moving on, and so I watched him walking down the street. I got in my car and drove down to St. Thomas, and I was moving the piano, getting set up for this rehearsal, and I looked, and there he was in St. Thomas. And he said to me, I think your church is beautiful. And I said, thank you, it's not my church, but I agree. And I said, I have a choir that's getting ready to rehearse here. And he introduced himself to me and asked if he could tell me part of his story. And there had been shifts recently in his life, which led him to be walking with backpack and bedroll and water jug. And then he said, and to be honest, I'm looking for food. And I said, normally on Wednesdays, St. Thomas has a food station set up out front, and it's not there tonight. Now, I never carry cash, but I had cash. And I reached into my pocket, and I pulled out a $20 bill and said, can I buy your dinner? And he said, that's very gracious. And I said, well, this is just right. And I said, and I wish you calm, and I wish you breath, and I hope that the steps on your journey are easy. And he said, I hope that the music of your choir will inspire other musicians. And off he went. Now, I wondered for a while if he was real, or if it was my imagination, or if he was just an angel that had come to be with me. But then I talked to a friend who had seen him on the bus the morning before, so he's real. If you see him around town, I don't know if his story is true or not, I don't care. He offered me the idea that this choir might inspire other musicians. And so I offer to you, I hope your life inspires other people who are living. I can't sing this song without thinking about wonderful Ruth Ann Sapphire. For those of you who have been around for a while, you know, we would do this together and she would play the flute. And she would say, no, don't sing yet, it's still me. Now, I just did whatever Ruth Ann said. If we only have love, then tomorrow will dawn. The days of our years will rise on that morn. If we only have love to embrace without fears, we will kiss with our eyes. We will sleep without tears. If we only have love, with our arms opened wide, then the young and the old will stand at our side. That's falling like rain, then the parched desert earth will grow green again. If we only have love for the hymn that we shout, for the song that we sing, and then we'll have a way out. If we only have love, we can reach those in pain. We can heal all our wounds. We can use our own names. If we only have love, we can melt all the guns and then give the new world to our daughters and sons. If we only have love, then Jerusalem stands, and then death has no shadow. There are no foreign lands. If we only have love, we will never bow down. We'll be tall as the pines, neither heroes nor clowns. If we only have love, then we'll always be, and we'll drink from the grail to be born once again. Then with nothing at all but the little we are, we'll have conquered all time, all space, the sun. under the stars. Jacques Brel. Thank you. I was thinking about how I would introduce to our speaker for the day. And then I thought there should be like this big neon sign that just lights up and says, Angie. Angie Hunter.
What am I using for voice?
Oh, I don't know. What do you want to use? Do you want to use this?
Is that what I should use?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's make sure it has batteries. Checking. 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 Hang on, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Wow.
So I'll start, well, maybe I shouldn't start up there. Test, test, test. Test, test it.
Nice boots. You need to stick a foot up, entertain the crowd. Yeah.
Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Test, test. Oh, there we go. Hi. Okay. There's a mute button. We don't want to be muted right now. Okay, welcome everybody, and thank you, RL. His beautiful song was kind of, if we were reading a book, would be the like prologue that you start with. It's like the dot on the exclamation point, but you don't know it yet. So that was perfect. What's she looking at?
How's everybody else going to see what you're wearing?
Y'all are getting ahead of yourselves, so bear with me. If you were here for my last talk, you might recall that I like props. So my boots are a bit of a prop. I'll get to them, I promise. But I am Angie Hunter. I'm the Leadership Council president, chair, whatever you'd like to call us, and I'm also your speaker for the day. And as what Minot shared with us, where we've been traveling these last 7 weeks, is through Dan Millman's book. Hi, Gayle. Hi, live stream. I'm sorry, I digress. Welcome, welcome. But Dan Millman's book, Everyday Enlightenment. And who's studying it, by the way? Are people, few, reading and studying it? Okay. So for those of you that maybe haven't, picked up the book or maybe missed a week, just quickly, the last 7 have covered our worth, our willpower, our how we energize our body, how we tame our mind, how we trust our intuition, and how we manage our emotion. That was the most recent one that we heard last week. And Kelly reminded us that that fear, facing our fears, is this week, chapter 8, again, as Minot referenced. But Kelly mentioned to us last week that fear is an emotion. But what Dan's going to encourage us to think about this week and in this chapter is fear as an adversary or as a guide. So in this chapter, we're encouraged to kind of get our footing by way of action. And he actually says this chapter, I really love this part, is the ascent to the summit. So if you're visualizing everything we've done up to this point, it's brought us here so that we can take some action. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start with action. So facing our fears, we have to first know what we're even afraid of. So did everyone get a program? Someone vandalized these. There's Post-it notes all over them. I wonder who that would have been. So I would like you to take your program with your Post-it note, find a pen that's scattered around you, and quickly, whatever pops in your head, write on your Post-it note what you're afraid of. Do you need one, RL? Take mine. And if you can't write, you're not in a position to write, if you're online or you just choose not to, close your eyes and visualize yourself writing down your fear. Anyone need a pen that wants one? Okay. Diane needs one back there. Okay, and you can keep writing while I continue on, but I just wonder if anyone's going to write down that they would be afraid to come up here and talk today, and that they might be afraid to come up here and talk today in these boots. And if you can't see these boots, I promise I will show you the boots after. I'll leave them on. But they're quite bright, they're pink, they're sparkly, they're sequins, ostentatious, gaudy, all those things, I don't know. But I'm not afraid to come up here and talk to you today in these boots. That's not what I'm afraid of. If I did go down the rabbit hole of fear, there would be a lot of other things that I could churn up that I would be worried about coming here to talk to you today. Okay? So, is anyone stuck? Did anyone not write something down? Everyone's got something? Yeah, it's pretty easy. I actually came up with a list of over 80 things that I'm afraid of, or I've been afraid of in my life. I'm just going to read a handful. Minot started us off perfectly. She shared some, so she gave you hints if you didn't have one yet. But being called to the stage, not this stage, but my husband's in a band, and RL, what he does, no way, never. Raw fish, that scares me. IVs and blood draws. Being human sometimes is very scary. Letting go of control. Life transitions. Dentists. Fearful of dentists. Choosing wrong. Traveling alone, flying over oceans, guns, and really odd, I know, but there's a point. Being choked. Claustrophobia and being choked. All right, so those are some of my examples. So I share those with you. But now what I want you to do is pick anyone in here, turn to them, and share what you wrote down. Say it out loud. Go. Share it out loud. Good, good. Share it out loud. And even if you don't want to say it to your neighbor, maybe just speak it out loud to yourself. Okay, good job. Back to me. Bring it back in. I know, right? Okay, seriously, we're going to run out of time. I talk too long. Y'all know this. So, we wrote it down, and we gave it a voice. So those two things already have put us into action. Those two small baby steps, writing it down, sharing it out loud, verbalizing it, you've already lessened, diminished the power, the fear that it has over you, whether you believe it or not. But try it. Try that again over and over with things in your life, because those baby steps get easier to do. So good job. Thanks for playing along. Millman talks about some layers of fear in here, and I do want to read it. I know Minot read a segment as well, but this is a really good high overview of this chapter. Oh, yeah, I'm going to need readers. A little too small. All right, you are not actually afraid of the act of whatever you wrote down, fill in the blank. His examples are public speaking, singing, taking tests, or letting a tarantula crawl across your arm. Rather, you fear your own imaginings of what might go wrong. That you may forget your speech, sing off key, fail the exam, get bitten by the spider. But the truth is, you're not even afraid of those things in themselves, but rather of the emotional or physical consequences, all worst-case scenarios: embarrassment, shame, mediocrity, pain, or bottom line, the ultimate death. Okay? So there's two types of fear if we look at it. We've got physical fear. Physical fear, I've been using the analogy of nature, right, Ann? So Todd and I have been watching the little killdeer nest outside of our bathroom window. And these killdeer are the perfect representation, metaphor of physical fear. They have the alarm system that in the middle of the night I can hear going off. Ring, ring, ring. And it's like, oh, the hawk's on the post. The hawk is on the post. Because this poor sweet little killdeer is trying to protect her eggs. And that's kind of what happens in our body, right? The alarm bells go off. The signals go off to get us into our head to say, wait, do I need to put up my protection? Do I need to figure out what to do? Okay, there's that kind of fear. The second type of fear is the psychological that he kind of referred to in that paragraph. And the psychological is that embarrassment, that shame, that beating yourself up, that low vibration energy that pulls us down into these spaces where we kind of don't know what to do when fear presents itself. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more. So back to you. What does fear look like on you? Maybe it's physical, maybe it's psychological. So anyone ever heard of the drama triangle? Okay, so I'm not going to school on that, but it's a real old mental model. So Stephen Cartman, I think he was a psychologist back in the late 60s, but he coined the terms victim, rescuer, and persecutor. And it was with regard to interpersonal transactions and also, transactions within your own head, intrapersonal. So those three roles are all fear-based roles. They're all about holding these spaces of not having choice and it being at someone else's mercy. And the reason I point it out is because it's a way of kind of living in victimhood, which is also very fear-based. And that's not to take away from victimization at all. That's a whole separate thing. We're not going there today. That's where we get professional help by our side. But regardless, the reason I point out these roles is because sometimes we put those on as armor against fear, right? So fear is an emotion, triggers a behavior. The behavior triggers a pattern in ourselves, and that's how we start to show up over and over again. So fear is hidden underneath different things. Maybe it looks like anger. Maybe it looks like procrastination. Maybe it looks like sarcasm. Maybe it looks like nervousness. So there's all these things. So what I want you to think about is, how do you respond to that thing you wrote down on your Post-it note? What shows up for you? Anyone know? Have theirs handy? Did it pop up quick? If it didn't, it's just going to take a little bit more inquiry. But I know for myself, as a young child, mine showed up as anxiety, terrible. In my boys, watching them, depression, becoming nonverbal, becoming right and loud, right? So these are all indicators that we can start to pay attention to know that, maybe something else is going on here that I need to take a closer look at. So, sorry, I didn't mean to eat that. If we decide we're going to face our fears, which way do we look? Which direction do we go? I don't know. Do you know, Bert?
Well, I'm smiling because I think we look in.
Well, okay, we can look in. Yeah, absolutely. We can look in. That's a good start. So I'm going to start with another quote from Millman in the book. I like it a lot. So once you're fully engaged, immersed in an activity or inquiry, the fear either vanishes or fades because your attention is no longer focused on what might happen. You are absorbed by what is happening. And I like that because it's a reminder of when we're absorbed by something, Denise has got it, we kind of shift gears. We've entered a different state. We go into that flow state. We go into the state of clarity, of having that clear answer or vision. So, to Bert's point, we want to navigate, right? And it might start by looking inside. We crave the lack of fear, but what we really need to understand is how to alchemize it, how to use it, how to turn it into that adversary or that guide. So we can move between these roles I talked about in that drama triangle when they show up for ourselves, and we can quickly get out of those roles by realizing that we are always at choice. You know, it's why, part of the reason why I love this teaching so much, right, is the change your thinking, change your life. Remembering and realizing that we are at choice is kind of the first repositioning as we start to face our fear. All right? So when we feel fear tugging at us, or we recognize we're in one of our fear-based reactions, we have a choice and we can respond by moving between fear and love. So this in-between might stir up some discomfort, but what I want you to know and remember and go back to is that in-between is where our faith is housed. Okay, so the faith is going to be the kicker that gets us to that space of recognizing love. So it's where it resides and where it turns to. So Ernest Holmes' book, Can We Talk to God? It's a really nice book. Here's a quote that comes out of that. And it kind of is similar to what Minot was leading us with in her talk. So fear is a positive acceptance that you shall experience that which you dislike. Faith is a positive acceptance that you shall experience that which you do like. But they are identical in their mental action. The only difference is in the direction. Be careful not to fight fear too much, but rather, through a sort of flexible imagination, convert fear into faith. Those are Ernest Holmes' words. They're lovely. So if we look back at the gateways that have gotten us here, a few that I remembered that had stood out to me personally. Last week, Kelly talked about how he used managing his emotions through meditation. And if you were here, you would have heard him tell us about kind of the layers that he went through backwards to fall into a happy space of when he was a 4-year-old boy sitting in the sandbox. So it's kind of how he unwound his emotion. So we have that practice in our place. We started it here at 8:30 today. So meditation is one other action, right, that can get us to redirect when we're feeling fearful. So Saturday, who gets Rev Gayle's wake-up calls? The little text message? Okay, a lot of you. So did you read Saturdays? Okay, if not, it's also on Facebook, because I post them there. So I really read her commentary. It was a Brene Brown quote, but her commentary is what hit me. Because in her commentary, she touched on every gate up to this point. I mean, she's quite impressive. I'm going to read it to you, and what I'm going to do is put in parentheses the gate that she's referring to. And I don't know if she did this on purpose, but it is all connected. So real faith takes courage. That's the energy in our bodies. Faith is not always knowing how things will work out, trusting our intuition. It is not having every answer or being free from fear, managing our emotions. Faith is what we lean into when doubt tries to convince us to stop, tame the mind. It's the quiet strength that whispers, keep going, even when the path ahead is uncertain. Now, I made this one up and I put action because I liked it. There will be times when fear feels louder than faith, facing our fear. Times when we question ourselves, our worth, our direction, or whether the good we are praying for is truly unfolding. So I put net worth here because when we talked about managing our money, we talked about how it ultimately rolled up into our net worth because of the flow and the cycle that created. And then lastly, she says, your faith does not have to be perfect. It simply has to be stronger than your willingness to give up. Will. So I just thought that was quite incredible that she tapped 8 gates in 8 sentences. So one other thought I had while I was working through the topic and thinking about how to share, personal experience was the idea of agency. So I went and pulled the definition of agency just so I could be clear. But agency is the capacity to participate consciously in the direction of your life. says we can't control all things, yet we are not powerless. You have influence, you have choice. And I added, we have faith in knowing ourselves and that we are of source. So that agency is really powerful, but it speaks to the direction we need to be pointing and maybe the control that we have versus the control we need to be releasing and relinquishing. So I have this cute quote. I follow this poet on Instagram, social media. It's J.K. Kennedy Writes. I love it. But it says, oops, I saw you living your life in anticipation of the worst case scenario again. Darling, you may as well invite it to tea. Stop that. So this is how I talk to myself in my head a lot of times. Stop that. And why don't we have a seat and look at this a little bit closer? So, how we hold fear. Oh, sorry, I'm skipping ahead. My share. So this brings me to my share. So recently, many of you know, some of you don't know, I've become a new parent. Yeah. To college-aged boys. I've never been here before. It's a new stage of life, and I don't understand it at all. It's kind of like watching the little video of my new nephew learning to crawl that we got this morning. It was fabulous. But also, I look back and said, wow, that kid, it took him a whole month to get from to actually movement, right? So anyway, I digress. So back to my kids. So in the last couple of weeks, and my husband's here and he can attest, I've been physically gripped by some things that my kiddos have gone through struggle-wise. I could physically feel my stomach drop. I could physically feel my voice get stuck in my throat. I could see my hands shake, and I could see and feel the tears start to come out of my eyes in moments. And so obviously I know something's gripping me. And knowing my past patterns and behaviors, I want to run, I want to get away, I don't want to look at, and I also play on repeat. It was as if it's my favorite song from the age of 12. I'm a bad mom. I'm not doing it right. I haven't done this well. I created this. It's my fault. They're in this struggle because of me. And if you're a mom or a parent, you know you've had that story in your head too. And we like to take that because it fills up what we don't want to look at. And it's what we don't want to look at, that empty space and that void, that actually houses our answer. So how do we get there? Well, we have to hit pause on that reel, that broken reel that isn't working for us anymore. So we sit that down and we tell it, stop that. And we stop the worst case scenarioing. And we go in between fear while we're holding and carrying our faith, patiently waiting for something to drop in to that void that can be new, that you can move from. And you know what? In this example that I'm talking about, it took about 2 or 3 days to hit the first stage where some clarity fell in and I heard, let go. And then it took about another week to go, yeah, you can let go. Your job to protect them is done. They can protect themselves now. And that's really hard because the last year I've been trying to let go of control, really focus on letting go of control for a long time. And if I let go of control, then I can't protect them. But it isn't my job anymore. So we set that down. And what I took away from that is that that was just a pattern of protection under false pretenses. So I don't need that anymore. So we have space to open up. So how we hold our fear or our faith is how we do anything. Okay? Are you shrinking or are you showing up? Because it's your choice. Totally your choice. Are you able to reveal who you are during the in-between, during the turning the direction from fear to facing something else? All right? Emma Curtis, if you study science of mind, Emma Curtis is a strong-willed woman full of denials. We love Emma Curtis. She has a quote on page 53 in your Science of Mind magazine this month that says, "The world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is." Otherwise stated, tell a new story. If you don't like it, tell a new story. Okay, so just like me standing up here in pink cowboy boots, right? Kind of crazy. Facing our fears that maybe once, really scared the crap out of us. So Colin said, "Oh, you look like, what'd you say when you walked in? Something cowgirl. Cowboy Dorothy." And I was like, there's a reason. So it's my reminder to circle back up with you to say, this scarf around my neck that once would have never been able to be worn here is because I looked at why I was scared of being choked with jiu-jitsu and rolling. This scarf is from Italy that I had to fly over an ocean, face that fear in order to bring back from Italy. And these boots are my reminder that cancer can't scare me or the people I love anymore, that they're here to kick ass, is because I bought them so that the dollars went to support kids fighting cancer. All right? So how you use your fear is how you are going to show up in the world. You can have a choice. It can control you, or you can control what you do with it. All right. So leaving you all with what I've discovered. I've got to wrap up. I'm already at my time. Gayle told me 25 minutes. But I just want to say that really where you are in this community, being here in this space, is just amazing. We hold space for one another. We have prayer practitioners to help us to show up. We know how to practice our faith and use it. Millman, last thing, says fear is but a doorway of opportunity, not the end of the world, but only the beginning. So the doorway being the in-between from when we choose faith leads us into that love, which was our prologue. So bringing it back to each of you. Did anyone have a similar fear that they shared? Did anyone find sameness at all? Yeah. Okay, so the point of that is also an action, that it's not just yours. Yes, you've curated it to fit you, but someone else has gotten through it, has felt it, so use one another. Be seen with each other. I see each one of you, and there is more than half of you that I could look into your eyes and know that you've faced fear and you've gotten through it, and that is fact. And I'm looking at most of the people that I have watched and witnessed for. So leave here being seen from someone else. Now, that's how I'm going to have to leave it because I'm completely out of time. I had a beautiful poem I wanted to share, but it's too long. So I think I'm just going to close with some quick words from Ernest one last time. So there's the Library of Ernest Holmes regarding fear. It's followed by faith everywhere you look. So it's never kind of solo, and I thought that was really interesting. But this comes from one of his talks from 1958 at a Silomar, and it's just a couple lines, so bear with me. So as we start out, let's start with this thing, this oneness. There is only one of whatever it is. There is nothing else beside. And let's see if this week we cannot get back to the absolute simplicity of it. You are a practitioner. You may not know it, but you are. If you believe what I said, you can't help from now on being a practitioner because you are at least going to be changing enough thought to see if something won't happen. And that's all that practice is, seeing if something changes. We do not breathe the ethers into space. We do not control gravitational force to bind the sun and the moon and the stars together. We just practice. And that in and of itself is action. And so it is. I made a mess of your piano here. I apologize.
I obviously do not. Yes.
You blow me away. All our speakers blow me away. We're so fortunate to have this philosophy and people that understand it and bring their version of it to us. So thanks, Angie. What an amazing Texas mom you are. So it's time for our your generosity is appreciated. It's time for our offering. Your generosity allows us to maintain this beautiful sanctuary and building, and it's a place to offer Sunday services, workshops, and events. Contributions can be made online, in person, or by mail. For those who are watching online, you can go to our website, lightonthemountains.org, and click the donate button near the top of the page. And for those of you here today, there's a donation box near the entrance. You can share your generosity as we pass the offering basket. And for those who have a yearly pledge, would you please put a purple donation card in the basket to symbolize that? And we want to say our offering affirmation, which is in the from the love of pure spirit within me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal, bless, and prosper. It is evidence of my faith, gratitude, and belief. It does good work in the world and returns to me multiplied abundantly. Thank you.
Angie, I wonder if you would be okay if we might grab that great poem and make some copies of it and send it out into the world. I can do that. Great. We'll get some copies of this poem, because I'm so curious now I can't stand it. So I'm really only thinking of me. And a little warning is that you might be really busy this week, because like it or not, you are now tucked into my pocket and into my heart, and you're going with me all week long, because I might need you. And I have a feeling some other people in the room feel the same way, so fortify. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. It's my version of the Boots. Shine all over the world. I'm gonna let it shine. Shine all over the world. I'm gonna let it shine. Shine all over the world. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Shine to everyone, not just the people I know. Shine to everyone who needs it. I'm gonna let it shine. shine to everyone. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. It's good, Dave.
He knows I always, ooh, sorry, that's loud. He knows I always like that upbeat music. Okay, so let's see. All right, so thank you to everyone who has put a little bit of their sunshiny heart and soul into this basket, into this space, in whatever form, monetary or otherwise. We truly accept and receive it divinely. I bless it as far as I can bless it as my little practitioner self allows, and I know that it is seen, received, and felt, and done, and will do good work. So the reminders. So reminders that Minot is our prayer practitioner of the day, but I know there's some others in the room. If we get a little backlog, they can stand and help. Maybe Ann, maybe Cynthia. Practitioners and prayer will go in the minister's office. We will join in the social hall for communing together. And the treats are in the hall, but it's a beautiful day, and we have some chairs and space outside if you want to check out our new beautiful clean stream out to the left here. What else? Anything else?
I think that's it.
That sounds pretty good. All right, thank you all for being here. I will put one little pause in. If anyone wants to hear the poem, I'll read it.
Yes.
Technically, service is over. This is a post-service thing.
We have time.
It is really worth your time if you have it. If you don't, you will not offend if you need to sneak out. But so what I want to mention is this person is an artist, self-taught, and his paintings and portraits are amazing. And I have a question in my mind. I'm like, what comes first, his paintings or his poetry? Because the poems are really long. I actually cut this one from 6 minutes down to 4. So it's not even the full poem, but I'm going to read the parts that really resonate with our topic today. But his name is Matt Moberg, and he's actually a recovering addict, and he uses his art as his therapy. So when he feels the pull towards addiction or avoiding whatever it is he's avoiding, he approaches art, and I think that is amazing. So this is his poem called Sila. And the part I have pulled together is what I'm going to read. I am tired of the little judge I become when I'm afraid, the gavel in the tongue, the courthouse in the ribs, the witness chair where the heart was meant to sit. Everyone wants to know truth now, but nobody wants it to lay a hand on them. That's probably why we can't talk. Every conversation feels loaded before it breathes. We come in carrying screenshots like evidence, numbers like broken glass, our anger pre-lit, our mercy left charging in another room. Curiosity hasn't killed a cat in decades. We are such little catastrophes of longing. We cry in grocery store parking lots with melting ice cream in the back seat because someone we love spoke in a tone that found the basement of the body. We reread text messages like monks bending over ancient manuscripts, searching for proof that we have not been quietly removed from the country of good. We forget the thing that mattered. We lose the thing in our hand. We ruin what we were begging for. We hand fear the microphone and then blame love for the speech. We are one, we are one bad night away from texting, "Are you mad at me?" to someone who is only asleep. Think of that. Think of how close we are always to mistaking rest for abandonment. Think of how little it takes to return us to the locked door from 20 years ago. Who told you you had to be right in order to be good? Maybe the holiest thing is not loud certainty. Maybe the holiest thing is the quiet softening, the breath before the answer, the hand unclenching, The sentence that begins, "Tell me more." Maybe God is not waiting for us to win the debate. Maybe God is waiting for us to notice the sparrow on the fence, the soup on the stove, the friend still answering, the body still breathing. The body still breathing and the morning returning with no guarantee except its own golden arrival. Maybe God is less interested in being defended than in being encountered, less interested in our raised voices than in our lowered guard, less interested in the flag we plant than the shoes we remove. So come. Leave the argument still chewing on itself in the kitchen. Leave the last word face down on the table. Let someone else win the echo. You do not have to answer every bell your fear rings. Come outside in this unsolved world. There's still jasmine climbing the fence, still rain making music on the trash cans. Come and see the sky, how the sky is doing that impossible thing again, where it holds everything and asks for nothing. There is still a world that has not learned our hatred of being unfinished. Come be unfinished here. Come be unsure. Come be the kind of small that finally fits inside mercy. Come be human. Come be quiet enough to hear the life beneath the life. Come stand here without an answer and let awe do the work that argument never could. Let it soften what certainty hardened. Let it loosen what fear clenched. Let it make you not someone who knows more, but someone who kneels better inside the life we are already in.
Page 3 in your songbooks, we'll sing together. Page 3. Stand if you want, sit if you want, it doesn't matter. Lead us from death to life, from falsehood to truth, from despair to hope, from fear to trust. Lead us from hate to love, from war to peace. Let peace fill our hearts. Let peace fill our world. Let peace fill our universe. Lead us from death to life, from falsehood to truth, from despair to hope, from fear to trust. Lead us from hate to love, from war to peace. Let peace fill our hearts.